And you can introduce yourself. Tell me who you are and how you're affiliated with the show first.
Hi, my name is Vivian Lamb, and I am Constantine's wife, but also who's the producer of the California Audio Show. But also, I am the general manager of the California Audio Show.
Now, how did you decide who to bring to the show? Was it just anybody that you can get to come to the show, or did you hand pick the people?
I think we cast a wide net. Again, I'm not an audiophile, so we basically, as far as I know, cast a wide net. It was Constantine who really gave me a list of folks to call and talk to, and that's basically how we.
Well, is the show going okay so far? We're in the middle of it, and you've got a lot of people here. Is it doing okay? I mean, are you happy with it?
Oh my gosh, we've run out of badges today, and we're having to go for backup supplies on how we're going to get people with their name tags. So we'll be ready for tomorrow, but today.
We're in right now is the room where they're selling records, which is a big part of the thing. You're selling old records and rare records, and there's I see reference recordings and a couple of other places. Is this a big part of the show, or is it a part that's changed over the years, or how is this the retail section in your show working?
It's working well, I believe. I have been a part of the show for the last 4 years since Constantine and I have been married, and today, in terms of there's a lot of traffic that comes here.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. It's crowded. For the people listening, this part is the New York show, which I was in a couple years ago. The audio rooms with the LPs and everything were small, and it was crowded, and everybody's bunched together. This one, it's good. You have a lot of space, and there's people talking, and there's a good energy inside of it. And I just like that about this particular show, because some of the other shows have this section. That's why I asked. It's a little bit, it's like I said, it's too much. But this looks like it's going really well. I mean,
it's going really well today. We have we have this vendor over here, Kirmuss Audio, who is brought in their, record cleaner, but they even do more than that. They do restoration of records, and he's just been packed the whole venue the whole time since we've started. And but all the tables have been well attended.
You're listening to the UnCommonCore podcast with your host Thomas Howell.
We have, reached out to different dealers as well as retailers to, come to the show, around more than outside of the Bay Area. So.
And what about as a woman, because there's more women here than there were at the New York Audio Show. There was only I know there was Rondi from Krell. I can't remember anybody else.
She's an exhibitor, though.
Yeah, she's a manufacturer and an exhibitor, right? And but now here there's a lot more. What are your ideas? I mean, did you before you met Constantine, were you into audiophile stuff or not? Were you interested in the music?
Of course, I listened to music, but I was not an audiophile. I'd never heard of the word before, and but I quickly learned that there's huge boxes and very heavy equipment, so it takes up a lot of space. However, now after listening to his systems and even watching television through his system, I just love it. But I still don't. I'm still not a technical audiophile, but I do appreciate really good sounding systems when I'm listening to music. And
so the thing is, you kind of, some people have an epiphany with it, like, wow, this I didn't know that you can hear this. Other people come into it slowly. It sounds like it's kind of growing on you a little bit. Is that kind of the way you'd say?
Yes, I think that's a good characterization.
And what is your preference for the kind of a thing? Do you have any kind of preferences for the type of music you listen to, or the type of system you like to listen to, or how are your tastes developing in this?
Well, what's funny is when you live with an audiophile and a show producer, he listens to a lot of music that he likes. And so I've learned to listen to jazz and Japanese music and music that I wouldn't even be exposed to.
What kind of music do you like? What do you like to listen to?
I'm from the 90s, so I listen to the 80s and the 90s.
Well, pop or rock or...
Pop, but I do... like acoustic music where it's just a guitar or just a bare minimum strings, not a whole lot of heavy metal or even, a lot of instruments in the background. I like it
Well, it's okay. You can prefer pop. I mean, it's not just jazz. I think that might be a misconception actually as well, is that people think that they have to have a high-end system for jazz and classical music, but depending on the system you buy, you can hear really good stuff with the, if you get the right system.
I was just talking to my sister yesterday, and we like listening to Pink. They have that aspect to them, where they write some of their own songs, or a lot of it, and...
Yeah, some of the artists today, it's kind of hard to, they kind of aren't penning down lyrics. So what is it that impressed you about it? Do you like the big expensive stuff or the small stuff or what?
So I think this is a great question. Last year after the Cast 8 show, my husband, they brought the Destination Audio horn speakers over to our house.
Oh no, horn speakers. Now horn speakers are very interesting. Some people don't like the horn speakers, the way they look. Other people like the horn speakers because of the way they sound or the way they look. So horn speakers, you had horn speakers in your house.
I had huge horn speakers in our house, and at first I was asking, my husband, when are they going to be gone from our living room? And but I have to say that by the time that they were taken back, I think they came in June, so we had them for a number of months, over 9 months, less than a year. But they came and took them, and the space seemed, empty, and the movies that we were watching or the music that we listened to, I miss the horn speakers actually. But it's not like I knew it without having been immersed in it in the past.
Yeah, there's something you get nostalgic about. I remember when I first got into home high-end audio, and I had a girlfriend that experienced that. It was the MIT music hose, which is like speaker cable, and they're skeptical, like this is not going to make a difference. And then they made a big difference, and that kind of sold them on it. It's like, oh, this isn't all BS, And then the certain speakers, but you get nostalgic for it. So that was your thing, the horn speakers. What was the brand again?
It was Destination Audio, and I have to say that I told my husband. So then Bohemian Rhapsody came out on video, and I was like, gosh, I wish we had the horn speakers so that we can watch them from home, and that would have been fun.
What can you tell then? Is there anything you could say or anything you could do as part of the show to bring more women into it? Because I don't know what the resistance is, but it's all these. This show is actually, like I said, much better than the New York show. New York show was all middle-aged white guys, and this show is much more diverse. Maybe it's the Bay Area. I don't know what it is. Do you think there's anything you could tell people who are a little bit skeptical that might bring them in? Because I have different people listen to stuff I do, fashion and all that other stuff. What would you tell some of the women that anything you could say you think that might be able to interest them in that in high-end audio?
I think for me, knowing Constantine, he talked about it a lot, and just over time I became interested. He would always ask me and invite me to go to different sessions or reviews that people were having if people were giving a demo.
But why did you resist, I guess, is kind of part of my question, is what is it, why are they so resistant? I mean, it's open to everybody.
Well, I don't read my husband's reviews, so they're too technical for me. But but what I can connect to is just listening to music. So for me, keep it, as soon as we get talking about, the monobox or the preamps, and I'm not interested in that. So it's what the main functionality is the music and what I'm listening to. And
I think that's a problem as well with the people that don't want to spend. You have to spend some money on high-end audio, but some people don't want to spend over $500 on their system. And I think the problem is that they're just not open to listening to it, and they don't like hearing people talk about that stuff. It's a turn-off. So you just say, come in, listen. That's what I've told people too, right? Just come in and listen.
I agree, yeah.
I know that some of the people in New York, and Steve Gutenberg, the audiophiliac, has talked about this before, but there are less expensive systems, and some of the shows are trying to bring in the low-end systems, the $500,000, $2,000 systems instead of these big fancy things. Is there anything you guys are doing in that direction or you're thinking of?
Recently, we visited a demo in San Francisco that was being held by, the name of the company escapes me right now. But in terms of, we did invite them to come, but they would be, they would be, I don't know, speakers that could sit on your mantelpiece, and I don't know that we have any of those here, but we invited them to come because we want diversity in, for the attendees that come to the show. And we're open, to that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something I would like to see, and a lot of people would like to see is to bring people in, something to introduce people into the industry with a lower priced item so they don't have to invest so much. Yeah, but it's a pretty good show, and I say I'm particularly impressed with this room we're in right now because, like I say, from the shows and the things that I've done, people want to come and maybe they don't want to buy an audio system, that day, but they would buy records and they would buy this kind of thing, and it's really nice to see everybody. Well, okay, well, once again, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Be a patron at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/UnCommonCore. Our Instagram is Instagram/UnCommonCore podcast. All this and more, including links, pictures, and personal essays, can be found on our webpage at www.uccpodcast.com or uncommoncorepodcast.com.
Okay, so your name is James, and how are you connected with the show?
Constantine's my uncle. He asked me to help him out.
And what do you, are you an audiophile yourself?
I wouldn't call myself an audiophile, but I love listening to music, and I do like listening to a higher quality than probably most average people.
Well, okay. Now, of course, the people on the podcast can't see you, but you're a young guy. How old are you?
I'm about 30.
You're 30? Okay. Well, you look younger than 30, but that you're in a certain age group, and that it's kind of hard to bring people your age into. This probably ages me actually, but bring people into, and I don't see too many of them here. Why do you think that is? You have any theories on that?
I think it's mostly because they grew up in a time where a lot of music was easily obtainable through the internet, and just MP3s, listening through YouTube, Spotify, whatnot. Whereas like I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of like at a point. I can remember a point when I used to listen to my music through cassettes and CDs and whatnot. So I do care about listening to it at a certain quality, WAV files and whatnot, rather than just whatever low bit rate stuff you can get off Spotify.
But do you think people have become, in your age group and younger, have become accustomed to, because you look like you'd be 20, in your 20s, are accustomed to the lower quality MP3?
I think it's that. I think it's more that for most people, music might be just because they get so much of it. It's just like an easily consumable thing, like a fast food. So it's just whatever quality I can get it at. Whereas like me, I kind of like listening to it at slightly better quality, FLAC files and whatnot. I get better quality headphones than just the beats. Whatever.
And you sit down and you listen to it too, whereas people are often doing it. It's like it's the soundtrack of their life.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just. I know people who just turn on some music on YouTube just to have something on in the background. They just hate the silence.
Well, what is your favorite? Some of your favorite bands?
I like a lot of classic rock: AC/DC, Queen, Survivor, Journey, Queen.
You said Queen twice, so you must really like Queen.
It wasn't until later in life that I found that a lot of their songs I had already known. So,
Is this typical of people your age and younger? That because I noticed there's a good deal of them that actually do like some of these older bands. I mean, they're still around; they're not that old. But or are you unusual?
I think it might be a bit unusual because, like, I feel like I'm starting to get to an age where, like, the things that were classics, like Queen, AC/DC, they're starting to not be the classics anymore.
Right, so it's not uncool to listen to them then.
So yeah, exactly.
Do you have a rec for yourself personally? Do you have a record player?
No, but I've been thinking of getting one.
What are you thinking of getting?
I'm not quite sure yet. It's only because I've been to a couple of these shows already that I've been thinking of updating my system, because right now it's just a computer and some speakers. But after coming to these shows, I've been thinking might want to get into the vinyl a bit, get some better high quality speakers.
I wanted to go in and listen to the Regas because I started myself with an old thing called a connoisseur turntable, and it was like, oh, this is supposed to be a cool turntable. But then I researched it and I found the Rega and I used it and I put it on. It's like, this sounds better. This is a good sounding turntable, and that's how I started. So I'd recommend starting with the Rega. They're in different price ranges, and you have them here at the show. What do you think? I mean, what would you tell people if you were the spokesperson for this whole thing? Was there anything that you would tell people like your age and a little bit younger in order to get them interested in it? Anything you might want to say?
Like I said earlier, to stop using music as just something to do, to pass the time while you're sitting on a subway or something, and to really just, sit down and just like take it all in, because it's only then that you're going to want to start to improve your setups and whatnot.
I remember when David Bowie died, and they I think it was on CNN, they interviewed. I actually have it on one of my podcasts about Bowie, but I think it was Ace Frehley from Kiss. And he said, all of these things that everybody, young people, are listening to is great, but just, sit alone in the room, turn the lights down, and just listen to the music, I mean, the other stuff is great, but this is a whole other end of it that, you have to take the effort to do it and listen to it. So do you have a room like that, or?
No, but I'm thinking of building a room like that. Mostly right now, my main goal is actually headphones. I've been wanting to really, get into the headphone space. Last year, the headmasters were here, the headphone room, and I really took in all the information they had and whatnot, and it made me really want to upgrade my headphone setup, with amplifiers, whatnot, not just for music, but just because audio is so much important for other things too, like watching movies and television, and especially now that people are moving more back into the cities now, and it's not really, it may not be possible to have like a whole room set up for audio. Headphones, good quality headphones, and outputting the sound has become much more important. So
What do you listen to? What headphones do you have?
Right now I'm using some Sennheiser Momentum 2.0s, but once I get a proper setup, I'm probably going to be moving up to the Sennheiser HD 640s.
Who's the cool person at the show? Who do you think is the cool exhibitor? I mean, apart from their gear, just the people that you think are just kind of cool.
Just some of these listening rooms. When you go in there and just listen to the music that they play and just listen to them talk about their setups and just how knowledgeable they are. And honestly, these records people around us, I mean, they just seem so into what their thing, and just seeing them talk to their customers and whatnot, and just projecting their love of all this. I just think it's really cool.
Because this, like I said, what we're looking at right now is different tables and different people selling their records. But yeah, that's real great. Hey man, thanks a lot for talking to me. Anything you want to say to anybody or anything out there?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm here with the record cleaning machine, and you're the only record cleaning machine in the whole show. So you must be the best record cleaning machine in the whole show. And what is it? What do you got going on? Well, yeah, but I mean, there's different kinds of record cleaning machines. There's different prices. So tell me who you are, what this machine is, and how it works.
Okay, very good. My name's Charles Kirmuss. I'm the inventor of the Kirmuss Audio Restoration System, and we're not a cleaning system. We actually are a groove restoration system. So what does that mean? So I'm just going to turn this off because it'll probably be picking up in your microphone.
Yeah.
So we don't want to have your audience hear the sonic running. So it all starts with science of the record. To explain very quickly, and if you can visualize this, what we have in the record process is you have a piece of plastic that's about 3 inches in diameter and about 1 inch tall that we call a biscuit that is squeezed between two mothers and masters, two basically replications of the lacquer that was made. That 1 inch thick hockey puck or biscuit gets pressed, and about 40 seconds later, a record pops out. Okay, and that's your record. The record then, obviously, because it's warm, because we've had heat and so on, gets trimmed, and then basically that's how a record is made. There are a couple of interesting issues where the reason why the record pops out of this mother and master is because during the heating process, there's a release agent or a silic acid that's coating the plastic. So it's not like Pam being spread on one of these presses. It actually comes out of this hockey puck or this biscuit. So that's where the problem resides. How many times have you bought a brand new record and you played it at your home and you hear a couple of pops? Brand new record.
Yeah, this does happen. Okay.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, not the same day, hopefully, because you should never play a record 2 times in 24 hours, because you need the accumulated heat of the dyne of the needle changes the structure and the form of the record. So you want the record to rest. So that's why you never play one side more than about 20 hours.
But I abuse my records like everything else. So I'm going to do that anyway, no matter what you say.
Irrespective, whether you sound like Fremer, whether you did or you didn't, when you play the record again, you'll have more pops. Why? It's because the release agent is heated by the dyne of the needle, and you are micro welding into the groove of the record dirt, dust, contaminants. So the premise of our patent is, wow, this is a brand new record. By the way, Lynn Stanley was here. Every time she's at a show, she brings in her records that are brand new pressings for us to remove the release agent. Not only to remove the pops already created by the manufacturer in their playback, but also we give 1.3 dB gain over noise, because now the needle is not touching the record and the release agent, it's actually touching this, the actual groove that was made by the original lacquer. So, having said all of this, I know it's long, think of a record made 30 or 40 years ago. Records that your father had, your grandfather, grandmother had. Well, the release agent has always been there for 30, 50 years or so. So by me being able to, in my process, to remove the release agent, I restored your records. I removed the clicks and pops of 30, 40, 50 years of playing. Now we have the brilliance of the record as seen by the original mother and the lacquer that you've never heard in the whole 40, 50 year history of the record.
Well, that's really interesting. So I got a quick question though before I forget.
Yep.
Do you only have to treat it once, or because that's what the way you're describing it, it seems like you only have to treat the record once, or maybe twice, and that's it for the history of the record.
Only once for the history of the record. Once we remove the release agent, we also stop the process of fungus starting to grow on records in humid areas, because what the release agent is, it serves as a base for dirt and dust. When dirt and dust gets onto the surface or in the grooves of the release agent, we now have colonies of fungus that grow, aided by the sugar of the paper sleeve, aided by humidity. So without that release agent, now we do this process of 2 minutes instead of what I'll show you in a couple of seconds. We do that maybe once every 4 years. That's it. Just to maintain the record and re-put onto the record the anti-static, antifungal agent that we've been using in the restoration process.
And does it matter what thickness or type of vinyl, because the different companies have have special versions now?
All records are made essentially the same. The technology that Edison invented in the 1800s is still the same process. Yes, we have a lot of different types of plastics out there. The best in the industry for your audience are old records that were made by Decca. They used 100% PVC. That's why they're sought after. Records that are made today have a combination of 70% roughly PVC, and then 30% remaining are records that were defects, including the label, that were chopped up and put back into the plastic. That's why we have different sounds of some records from the same plant but different pressings.
You're listening to the 2019 California Audio Show, Part 4. My interview with the Kirmuss Record Restoration System will continue in the next episode. It's been a difficult year, 2020, for everyone, but we'll all get past it. And if you'd like to help us, you can support us at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/UnCommonCore. And the final episode in our cross-country video series with Q the Pug is up now at www.goingyonder.com. That's www.goingyonder.com. Going Yonder. You can also do us both a solid by getting a pair of black gloves from the Black Glove Store at www.blackglovestore.com. The final episode of the California Audio Show and the rest of my interview with Kirmuss Audio is just around the corner. So stay tuned. I'm Tom Howell. Take care of yourselves.
Have to get away from the Babylon. Get away. Get away. Get away. I know that we are leaving forget about it in a party. But on a Monday we're part of the machinery, functioning well on the chain, and this not how it should be. We have one life to live, so let's be constructive. We only survive when we're leaving, we're leaving. Leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon system. Leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon system. Leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon. Leaving this city, go to the corridor. Babylon, this is spiritual. Over it, it's a commercial. We have no time to waste, no more hesitate. If we not leave today, it could have be too late. It could have be too late. It's not good in a Babylon. It's not good. It's not good in a Babylon. And we are leaving Babylon. We are leaving Babylon. And we are leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon system. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon system. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon system. Leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon system. Leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon. Leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon.
You've been listening to the Uncommon Core podcast with Thomas Howell. I'm Satoko Smith. Thank you for listening.